Welcome to episode 3 of the Hungry People podcast. My name is AJ and I'm here with my co-host, Michael Patrick Buckley. Banana Bruiser, how are you doing today?
Hey, what's up, AJ? I love being called the Banana Bruiser. And it's actually kind of funny because I actually love
I
being
love
called.
calling you the Banana Bruiser.
Yeah, and I actually love being called by my full name, Michael Patrick. Even though I love being called MP too. I love being called all names. But Michael Patrick for sure is definitely my favorite. But anyways, I'm doing wonderful. I'm excited to be here. I'm ready to get going on today's episode. Um, and it's just so awesome that we're doing this and we're getting the ball rolling on the podcast.
For sure, yeah, I'm really excited too because there's so much I don't know about you. We've gone a little bit before into your past, but today I really want to get into how you grew up, how you got into fitness and health and all these types of things, and really touch base on a bunch of stuff because the better I know you, the better everyone else knows you, the more involved that we can be in the podcast and involved in your journey of being a success because you are crushing it for sure.
Thanks,
And
AJ.
if you don't mind, yeah, let's take it from the beginning. Let's start from your childhood and how you grew up.
Yeah, for sure. I just want to give a little timeline of what I'm going to be talking about here today. So, I am going to be talking a little bit about my childhood and going to be talking about some stuff that happened to me in high school and then some experiences in college and then really diving deep into me getting into veganism and raw veganism and some healing stuff and some experiences that I've had. I'm really excited to share. But yeah, so anyways, my childhood, growing up, I mean, I've been blessed with an awesome childhood. My parents were so giving, and they just always made sure I had what I needed. They didn't overdo it with me. They didn't just be like, "Oh, hey, you can just have everything you wanted. Here you go, and P. Here's this, here's that." Um, my dad, he's worked his tail off his entire life. He's a fireman. My mom is a beautician, working a bunch of jobs, and they both just provided so much for me and have given me and have led the way for me for my future. And I'm so thankful for them and for what they've done for me.
Yeah,
And
I can speak to that because I haven't met your mom in person, but I've talked with her on the phone,
Mhm.
and she seems awesome. She seems super sweet.
Yeah,
And then I've also stayed with you before and met your dad and hung out with your dad, and
for sure.
he's pretty chill. He's pretty cool for sure,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
everyone very kind. So
Mhm.
I can definitely back that.
Awesome. Well, thanks for saying that, AJ. And it is kind of funny because I really am the perfect mix of my mom and my dad. Like my people would probably say that I have the energy of my mom, but I have like the willpower and discipline of my
Yeah,
dad. And
the
it's just
consistency. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. And it's just really cool. But yeah, so even growing up, I've always eaten pretty well. My mom and my dad, they always bought fruits, they always bought vegetables. Even when I was eating meat, my mom would actually go to a local farm and she would provide healthy meats for me,
Oh
and my
wow,
family, and
nice.
I'm very thankful for that. Um, Now some of the issues that I've dealt with when I was younger, and I still sort of kind of deal with them today. Not really. It's got a lot better. But I've always had really bad asthma, and I mean I'll get more into this later. But it was definitely it was really bad when I was younger, and I've always needed my inhaler, and I would sometimes get panic attacks, and I wouldn't be
Okay,
able
yeah.
to breathe. And
Would it feel like you cannot breathe, like you can't
yeah,
get breath in?
yeah,
Would it be
right.
just hyperventilating?
Right. Like I do remember I'd have to like go to the hospital sometimes because I get like I just can't breathe. I can't breathe. And I just wouldn't know
Wow.
what's going on. Um, so I always remember like using my inhaler and just always having it with me, and just never going anywhere without it. And that's definitely changed today, which I'm very thankful for. But really the main issue was my skin. I just remember being younger, and I would sit on the ground and I would just scratch between like underneath my legs, like where that little gap is between like where you bend your knee, right in
Hmm.
between. I don't know what that spot's called. But I remember just itching and itching and itching, and you would see like piles of skin on the ground because of how much I was itching, and I would like bleed just because I was
Wow.
itching so much and I was getting rid of so much of that skin. It was really painful. But like just how you have vivid memories, that's like one of the vivid memories that I have of myself as a child. And I
Right.
do remember my mom, she would really try to help. I remember her giving me some kind of oils and trying other kind of vitamins and minerals and stuff, but nothing really seemed to help. Um, so so yeah, so for me, really, my main issues were with my breathing and then with my skin, and just like all different kind of skin issues. I had really bad acne. Well, not like really bad. I had decently bad acne, and then just itching, eczema everywhere,
When
stuff on my
when you were
face.
having the bad acne, were you able to correlate at all to what you were eating affecting your skin
Yeah.
or no?
See, so
Did you notice back then?
not really. I didn't notice that at all.
Mhm.
But it's funny because a girl that I dated back in high school, her mom told my mom, she's like, "Hey, MP, or hey, Mrs. Buckley, um, MP has these skin issues. It'd be good for him to get off the dairy and to try, just to try getting off of it, slowly weaning off of it." And I don't think that I ever did that.
Right.
But this is actually a perfect transition into actually no, I'll say that for later. But because that's actually in college
Cool. I just
where
wanted to say one thing because when I was in high school, my
mhm,
skin was okay, but I would notice when I would eat French fries, especially at
mhm,
school, that it would flare up. So I
okay.
just like picked up a little bit. Did you notice with like a certain food now that you look back, like
Right.
really irritating yourself?
Right. No, see, honestly, I don't recall or remember any certain foods that really made my skin worse or caused more acne for me or gave me more issues.
Okay.
And it does kind of stink a little bit that I don't remember that, but I don't know. That's just how it is. So, but
All
yeah,
good. Yeah.
yeah. But anyways, just a tad bit more about my childhood. I mean, I played baseball, basketball, and football growing up, and I've always loved sports, and I was so committed. And I just remember my dad driving me around all over the place to all different sporting events, and my family supported me so much, and I was just so thankful for that. Um, and and I got to high school. Um, and when I was in high school, I played football, baseball, basketball my freshman year, and then I played basketball and baseball my sophomore year. And I had some of the best memories of my life actually when I was on the JV team for basketball, and
Like
just
what?
like just like even after school, just like going and getting some food with the guys and
Yeah.
just messing around and having fun out in Oak, because like we practiced at 7 p.m. and I didn't feel like just going home and then coming back. So I'd stay like in the area for a couple hours, and
Right.
we were just like messing around. There was like some homeless guy who we'd always like joke around with, and we just being
Nice.
goofballs, young
Yeah.
goofballs, and it was awesome. Actually, that time in my life, I mean, I'm in really good shape now, and even in college, I was in great shape. But I was in some of the best shape of my life, my sophomore year while playing basketball. I mean, just because like we were running so much, going back and forth. And I do remember my coach putting us through a conditioning program. I think it was Coach K's conditioning program, and it really did work. I could play an entire basketball game and not get tired, which is
Nice.
which is like crazy,
There's
But
something about that real deep conditioning that
yeah,
just translates into okay, so much confidence.
for sure, for sure. Um, but yeah, so I only played basketball and baseball my sophomore year, and then my junior year I ended up just sticking to baseball. I did play like church league basketball, and that was a lot of fun. But it was just on the side, and I really wanted to focus on baseball because baseball is my favorite, and I wanted to play baseball in college. And I do think my commitment to that did lead me down the right road and getting to a great college. I
So
started
so
working out.
do you think like putting the others to the side and focusing on the baseball really
Yeah,
took you
so
to the
it's
next level?
for sure. So it's really hard just to like I want to go back and be like, oh, if I did it all over again, what would I do? Because I do have a regret of not playing basketball my junior and senior year. And I even remember my friends being like, oh, like I wish you played, I wish you were here, blah, blah. And I will say that's actually one of my biggest regrets is not playing high school basketball my junior and senior year. And I know even just for athletes, like
Oh.
it's good to play all sports and just all different kind of movements and techniques
Hmm.
and whatnot. And um, the more athletic you are, I mean, I'd say the better you are at sports. You could argue. Um,
Right.
and I know like at my college. my coach, he wants the most athletic guys. He wants the guys that can play all sports. He wants the guys that can just go from sport to sport and have no practice and just be able to pick it up like that, you know?
Yeah, he wants a man's man.
Mhm.
Something that comes to mind just from what you've been saying is it seems like you were the opposite of me. You were very like, let's get it, I'm ready,
Right.
super stable,
Right.
and I respect that.
For sure. For sure. And I just remember my college coach saying that like he wants to recruit 25 shortstops. He wants to recruit guys who can play every position, who can be athletic and doesn't have to be like, oh, you can only play third base or you can do this or you can do that. Like he
Right.
wants guys that can play anywhere. And that just leaves your options so much open for a program. But yeah, so I've really gotten to working out into fitness my junior year of high school. And I like, along with just focusing on baseball, I do believe getting into the gym really helped me to make progress and gain strength to become a better baseball player. And I also did have a hitting coach on the side who would help me.
Mhm.
And I do believe that was another big part of it as well. So definitely honing in on certain areas of baseball and getting my strength up. I do believe that that's one of the reasons why I I did so well. It's funny, my junior year, so we play in the WPIAL, WPIAL. That's just like
Like your
our
league.
league, our
Yeah.
high school league, and I led the WPIAL in home runs and RBIs that year. I hit 8 home runs and 40
Nice.
RBIs. And then
That must have felt good.
oh yeah, it was awesome. And I might have had some other accolades that like the Post Gazette gave me, which is our local newspaper. Um, but and then the next year, my senior year, it was so ironic because, and I'm not like a crazy stat guy. Like I'm not like I don't like even when I was in college, I didn't want to look at the stats because I don't want to know anything. I didn't want to be like, oh my gosh, like what's my batting average? Just because I know a lot of that can get to guys, and they want to have the highest batting average that they can have. They want to hit the most, whatever, blah blah. So I just know that like a lot of that stuff can lead to like disordered thinking when playing and whatnot. Like, oh, I gotta get hit. I gotta get a hit.
Like almost like the correlation between like the vegans and calories or
Yeah, for sure.
calorie
For sure.
restriction and all that kind
Yeah,
of stuff.
exactly. And it's just like anything in life, all of it does mesh together,
Yeah.
like you can pick and choose, and you can learn from each aspect of life, um crap, I forgot what I was saying there. Oh yeah, so my senior year, everything was like cut in half. My stats were completely cut in half. So my junior year, I had 40 RBIs, 8 home runs. My senior year, I had 20 RBIs and 4 home runs. And it's just funny because like for the average person, that would have been like a good year for them. But for me, I was so in my head and just I feel like it didn't play to my potential. I didn't play as best as I possibly could.
I feel as though that's pretty common, like especially people that have amazing junior years in sports.
Yeah,
It's hard to live up to that senior year. It's hard
for
to live up
sure.
to that.
And it's just, I mean, I think a lot of it is just, I mean, it's about consistency. It's about keeping a good mindset. It's just so impressive to see these athletes in the pros, just be consistent every year and year and year in and year out, year in and year out. It's just like, man, how do they do this? It's really something else. And I give a lot of guys those credits, and who knows what they're doing to do that. I don't want to
Right.
I don't want to be like, oh,
Well, they're
they're all,
definitely putting the effort in. They're
yeah, for
definitely
sure.
waking up early and doing
Yeah,
so many things that no one else will do.
right, right. No
So yeah,
doubt
mad
that
respect for that.
exactly. No doubt they're doing exactly what, I mean, they're doing what it takes to get the job done, and doing everything that they can to be as consistent as possible. So, um, so yeah, anyways, so I feel like, one of my biggest health issues throughout my entire life was my energy, was like falling asleep everywhere.
Yeah,
um
some people might be confused because it's like, wait a minute, MP, you have more energy than anyone
yeah
I've ever met. So,
yeah
yeah, it's good to clarify what you
yes.
mean.
So like what I really mean by that is like, yes, like I had energy, I could do this, do that, blah blah. Like I was fired up, I was the hype guy. But
Yeah,
there'd be times like I'm in class in high school, and then like I can even touch on this in college too a little bit. It's it because I remember more vividly in college of this happening, but like even in high school, I just remember being in class like with my head down, just like sleeping. because I was so tired,
Right.
and I just didn't know why. For me, it just like it seemed like, I mean, I was staying up late, I was working, I was studying, I was doing my homework. I remember there was my friend Emmett, and Emmett, not sure if you listen to this or not, but we talked to each other every single night on the phone, doing homework together, and like staying up late. And my boy PJ too,
Making me
like,
jealous.
um, like I just remember like we were always talking, doing homework and stuff, and then I'm thinking like I'm not the only one staying up late and not getting enough sleep, like everyone else is doing the same thing too, because I'm getting up early, and I like every morning I fell asleep on the car ride home, or not the car ride home, the car ride to school, um, and yeah, so I just didn't know if it was just me, if it was just, I don't know what it was, and I was a guy like I didn't want to drink coffee. I was like, I'm not drinking coffee, not doing it, you know, not doing it. It's kind of funny and and Sab, I'm sure you'll appreciate me saying this. I'm sure you'll laugh. I remember he told me a story about how this my Sabatino, another friend from high school.
Right.
Um,
Right.
he he told me a story of how he was like, oh, I want to drink coffee. Like your dad gets up in the morning, he drinks coffee, and I want to be just like my dad. I just wanted to be that kind of guy. And he was in the coffee in high school, and he told me that one day he didn't have it. He didn't have his coffee in the morning, and he went to school, and he said he's getting like these migraines. He's like freaking out. He's like, no clue what's going on. And he said that he had to call his mom to pick him up and bring him home and take care of him, just because like it was
Yeah.
that bad.
Caffeine withdrawal is no joke.
Yeah,
It's intense.
yeah. And I mean, I've heard of other people too who like deal with that. They drink coffee, and if they don't have their coffee, it's just like they get headaches, they get certain kind of issues.
Right.
And like we're not gonna get into
Yeah.
that right now and talk about coffee. And I know there's lots of benefits for it too, for coffee as well. But I was just a guy, like I was like, you know what, I'm not doing it, just because the way I saw it was that a lot of people who drink coffee, I see it as like they drink it because they need it to like sustain their energy. They need it to like get up in the morning. Oh, I get up, have my coffee, it wakes me up. You know, um,
Mhm.
and like right off the bat, that's like one of the things that I realized with myself and my health, that I didn't want that. I didn't want to wake up and just need that coffee. So I was like, you know what? I don't care. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. You know, and I
Yeah.
didn't. But
You wanted real energy. You didn't want
yeah,
stimulation.
exactly. And I mean, it still stands true to the day. um, but anyway, so yeah, that was a little bit about my high school and my experience in high school and whatnot. Just falling asleep. I still had some skin issues, still had some pretty bad acne. Playing lots of sports, always very active. I had a girlfriend in high school. Lots of great memories there. I actually didn't drink in high school. Um, I was like so against it. I was like, I'm not gonna drink. I'm actually, and I was actually even I wouldn't be celibate. I was like, oh, I'm gonna be celibate till marriage. That obviously
Wow.
that's a whole different story that I don't really want to get into now. But I'm not celibate. Um, and yes, I was like just so against alcohol. I was like, oh, I'm not drinking it. Just actually because I learned from my parents. My parents, they've been sober for like I think my dad's like over 35, 36 years. My mom, same with her, and that's the thing is I learned from my parents in that way. I learned that, you know what, when you make wrong choices, and I'm not saying that like drinking alcohol is wrong choices, but like for some people it is a wrong choice and they can have
Right.
severe benefit or severe consequences. So I didn't want to go down the path. I didn't want to go down the drinking alcohol path. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to stay away from it. I'm not going to do that, and I didn't in high school. I actually didn't go to like a single high school party where there was like drinking and stuff. I went to like maybe like a grad party or something, or like a little get together, but I never actually
Sure.
went to like a big banger like high school party. And there's like this little pad down in the woods that everyone would go to and they would party, and I never went to that once. So that was just me, and is what it is. But yeah, so anyways, let's transition a little bit to college and about my college experience and whatnot. Um
Right. So
so
did you get like a scholarship? How did you
yeah.
transition from high school to college?
So I played for a summer team called the Pittsburgh Spikes, and It was a pretty good summer team in the Western Pennsylvania area, or summer league in the Western Pennsylvania area. And a lot of college coaches would come in and they would watch you play. Um, and I got some exposure that way. And even the coach that I played for back then, it's actually funny because I'm actually coaching for him now. I coach a youth baseball team now under his helm. And it's been awesome. Like I actually kind of like coaching more than I like playing.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's just I mean, obviously there's a difference, but there's just a difference, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, there's like a different energy to it.
Yeah, for sure. It's just like cool, like changing guys and making decisions and whatnot. But yeah, so I coached under his name's Chase. Under Chase, I played under Chase back in high school for 2 years. After my high school season, so I played my high school season, and then I go for play for Chase for 2 years. And he's actually really good friends with the coach that I played for in college. So right there, that they had that bond, that connection that allowed me to get the next step and play in college. But I mean, it's not like every guy that Chase had, he was like, oh yeah, come play. You can come play at Seton Hill. Like, I mean, there were still a few select
he could
guys.
probably tell you were really good at coordinating and
for sure
being patient with people and good people skills.
Exactly. So like, it's not like my coach just takes any guy, and that's the thing with Chase too. Chase he's very honest. He's very open. He's very upfront with like, hey, I think you can play here. I think you can play it. I think you're D2. You got to go D2. Or I think you're a Division III level player. Like he'll tell you up front and be honest with you about your abilities. And I knew that too. I knew that like I wasn't a big D1 guy. I knew that, like I think low level D1 or like D2 would be the best fit for me. And that's the thing, is that I've wanted to play baseball in college. I really did want to. I didn't want to just go to school and play school too. I wanted to play school and I wanted to play baseball, So yeah, so anyways, I ended up being recruited by Maz, and I ended up committing to Seton Hill University, where I played 5 years there. Some of the best experiences and some of the most fun I've had in my life. So actually my first year when I was in college, I actually broke my jaw. We had this cage up in the room, or up in the little facility that we had. Just like an old facility, basketball court. There's like a balcony up top where we had cages, and it was really tough to see. So, I'm up there hitting, and this guy's Martinelli. If you listen to this, sorry, you're a little wild at that point. He was the pitcher throwing, and I remember he threw 2 or 3 pitches, and I was like, whoa, I thought these pitches were inside and they were outside. Like, what the hell? Like, I couldn't even see them, Then he threw like a ball in the dirt. Next pitch, just looking. Next pitch, just threw it up, not on purpose, obviously. Just got away from him, threw it.
Wow.
Went right to my face, turned my head, hit me right here. If you're not watching, you're just listening to this, but it's the left lower part of my jaw. And fortunately it was just broken in that spot. So
so it was like a clean break.
Yeah. So I ended up, actually, I think it broke a little bit too below. So it was like here, then a tiny bit here, but mainly just on the left, like the part
front of your jaw too.
Okay. Yeah. So I ended up going to the hospital, and
Could you speak when that happened, or was
so I could. I was like, hey, I talked like, hey, hi guys, like this is like really all I can do, because
were you like pissed off, or were you like?
No, I was like, you know what, it is what it is. I got hit, like there was blood coming out of me. I got right back up, and I was like, I felt fine. I wasn't like in shock. I wasn't like crying. It was just like, whoa, what just happened to me?
Yeah, it sounds like you're really lucky you didn't lose some teeth.
Yeah. Dude. Oh my gosh. That's the thing, is that I'm very blessed to have still have all my teeth, everything good to go.
Yeah. No, really, seriously, like a few inches up.
Right.
Completely different story.
Oh my gosh. Anywhere could have been different. I like it just so I'm super fortunate that that's only what happened.
Well, I've heard a lot of horror stories about high school sports and teeth, and one of them being, sorry to cut you off. I just want to throw this in there. We had a field hockey team, and my sports medicine teacher was telling us that she had a woman who she got swung at with the field hockey club,
Oh my
those
God.
wooden, like,
Yeah.
hardened ones.
Yeah.
She hit the girl in the mouth, and the girl just starts spraying blood. So
Oh
she
my
looks, and all
gosh.
of her teeth are gone in the front, like all the
Mm-hmm.
top ones, the top, what is it, six are gone. So I don't know why, but everyone's looking for the teeth. I don't know if they were going to put it on. I
Oh
don't know.
my
Looking back, it was a
gosh.
weird story, but they're looking for the teeth, right? Because they're all knocked out.
Yeah.
It turns out they couldn't find them. It turns out they knocked her teeth into her gums, and they were up, like, in there.
What?
Insanity.
Dude, that is,
Crazy.
I've never heard anything like that before.
Yeah.
I couldn't even
So
imagine being like, what, I don't even, like, what happened? How did she,
I
do you
don't
even know
even
anything that
remember.
happened after that?
I don't know, but it's
That's
just really
just,
freaky. It's really
yeah,
weird.
that's really scary.
But I'm really glad that you didn't have to go through something
Yeah,
like
for
that.
sure. For sure. I'm very fortunate. So, uh, I, so I went to the hospital and I'm in the hospital and like, I'm hurting, I got x-rays and they're just like feeding me morphine. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. This feels so good. Like, give me more. So they took me on an ambulance and I'm not sure if you've ever been in an ambulance before,
Mm-mm.
but those ambulance riding in an ambulance was like the worst experience of my life. I'm just laying there, I'm laying back, and I want to puke the entire time. That's all I want to do. Just because like I mean the guy's trying to get me there, and we're moving pretty quick, and we're like I'm on this chair and I'm like moving back and forth, and
Mm.
oh my gosh, it was horrible.
So like a car motion sickness.
Yeah, yeah, and I like people were texting me like saying, "Hey man, I hope you're okay. I hope you're doing well." So I'm like trying to respond to them, and dude, it was just bad. So I
Probably not
get
the best idea.
no. So I get to the
Texting
hospital.
him.
Yeah, right. So I get to the hospital. My parents are there, and I'm like, "Give me a, I'm like, give me like trying to talk, like, give me a bucket." I get in the chair and they give me a bucket. I just puke everywhere. So they send me up to a room, and I stayed there overnight. And fortunately, I was super close with an orthodontist back then, and they were able to give me an appointment that next day. So I that afternoon, so I went in the afternoon. They put braces on me, and then I'm also very fortunate because, and this is actually a crazy story. I'm also very fortunate because one of the guys on my team, his dad was a doctor. He's a doctor in Pittsburgh. I think he's an orthopedic surgeon, but I'm not. Don't quote me. I'm not sure. And he was really close with, I mean, a lot of the other doctors. So there was a guy who did jaw surgeries and whatnot, and he connected me with the doctor, Dr. Patuch. And this guy, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar. I'm sure some of you might know, but Ben Roethlisberger. This is the guy who did Ben Roethlisberger's jaw. So I knew I was in pretty good hands. Ben Roethlisberger, Steelers quarterback, number 7, Big Ben baby. What's up?
Yeah, I didn't know that. Thank you for clarifying.
So just big athletic guy, big guy in the sports arena. So I knew I was in good hands. So that next day, after getting the braces on me, and getting those braces on me it hurt so bad. Just the pressure on my teeth and whatnot. Oh, it was terrible. So the next day, I got my jaw wired shut, and they put like the wire through the braces.
Right.
So I said this is a crazy story. So listen to this. I went down to Florida back in May, and the family that I went with, her ex-husband, I just found this out because I met him down there, was actually in the room of the surgery. So the doctor
Oh,
and
wow.
the lady's ex-husband were close friends, and they were doctors, and they were in the same room. So we went out to eat. I went to his house for dinner one night, and we come in, and I'm talking. I'm like, "Hey, how you doing? Blah, blah. My name's MP Buckley." And I knew that he was I think he's a plastic surgeon. And I knew he was a doctor. So I just like mentioned him. I said, "Hey, do you know Dr. X, Dr. Y?" Just like naming off some doctors. I'm like, "Oh, do you know this Dr. Blank?" And it was the guy who I went to college with, his dad, who's the doctor. He's like, "Oh yeah." I was like, and I told him like, "Yeah, actually, I played baseball at Seton Hill, so that's how I know him." And he's like, "Oh really? There's a kid that I performed jaw surgery on for Seton Hill baseball." And I was like, "Dude, that was me. I was the guy who you did the jaw surgery on. Nice to meet you. Thank you very much." So it's just crazy how I think it was
Such a small world there.
yeah,
Yeah.
6 years later, 7 years later, I meet the other guy who helped do the jaw surgery on me. Um,
Wow, that's pretty cool.
yeah. So so anyways, had my jaw surgery. I had my jaw wired shut for 7 weeks. And
Jeez.
that was a very powerful experience. I'm walking around like this, talking like this. Hey, what's up, guys? How are you guys doing? You know, and like everyone's like so mad at me because I'm like I talk so much, and when I'm eating, I'm talking, and they're like, "You're," like, I'm still somehow spitting food up, and they were getting mad at me. You know, but so for me, everything that I ate was like liquid. So even when I they had to like blend food up for me at the cafeteria, and it had to be like a liquid food, and it had to like they had to blend up with like broth or water, and it'd be like soups and stuff. And this is like really gross, and especially to like a lot of the vegans, and even thinking about it now, it's disgusting. Like they were blending up like turkey dinners and stuff for me, like mashed potatoes, turkey, and gravy. And I remember blending up like ham and yams and stuff. And it's just like
Like
thinking
an
about it, it's
all in
just,
one,
oh yeah,
like
it's so gross.
liquid,
Yeah.
liquid meat.
Just disgusting. Um, but it's just so funny because imagine if I knew about like even like juice fasting, or if I knew about eating like
You know, some
smoothies all the
banana
time.
smoothie or something. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Which I did make smoothies, and Matthew Ober, I still owe you a smoothie if you're listening. Because because the smoothies were so good, he's like, yeah, you gotta make me one. um, so so like it's just so funny how like I wish if I knew that, you know, I wonder if my experience would have been different. But I will say, so I was always a bit of a thicker guy when I was in high school, and when I was in college, I was thick too. So I had my jaw wired shut for 7 weeks, and I'm eating like yogurt, and I'm eating like Jello and stuff like that, smoothies, and they're blending up the stuff that I told you guys about, the gross stuff. um, and it's just so funny because I honestly feel like it resetted my metabolism a little bit. And like I said, I was always a bit of a thicker guy. After those 7 weeks, like I had like abs, and I don't know what it was, but I just like I felt good, and I felt like
Yeah.
something definitely changed in my body. And like from that point on, like I kind of had like a six pack, and I didn't know what happened. So I do feel like there was some sort of metabolic reset when I ate that way, you know.
Yeah,
I'm
I would think that you took some kind of digestive burden, you know,
mhm.
even though there was still fiber and there was still like solid food, but it was blended
Right,
in a way that was
right,
pre-processed so that when you ate it, it's easy for the body to digest it. And I do believe that when you do that, the body also has an easier time eliminating and maybe removing some of
for
that
sure,
extra weight that
for
led to
sure,
having more definition.
for sure, exactly. So it's just like really cool to remember that and to see that happen, and then like actually see it happen again, like 3 4 years later, like when I'm like eating smoothies and juice fasting and not even juice fasting, like just drinking a lot of juice, you know. Um, so so yeah. Anyways, back to just a little bit about my college experience. You know, I had a great time. I had a couple girlfriends in college, two, three. Um, and I did drink alcohol when I was in college. You know, I will say that my house had some of the best parties of all time. And that's the thing, is that like I do think it's good to experience that. I do think it's good to like just to go out and to live a little bit and have some fun with the boys, and enjoy your life, you know, whether that's enjoying your life or not, in quotation marks. Like, oh, going out and drinking, getting drunk is
Yeah.
enjoying your life. Like, is that actually enjoying your life? I mean, for some people, yes, it is, you know. But
Yeah,
now
I
go
actually want
ahead.
to step in and say something about that. Because now it's almost the more popular thing to say, like, school's the worst thing ever, and
Right.
I'm not standing up for school, by
Yeah.
the way. But like, because you were mentioning like some of the best memories and
Right.
fond, you know, bonds built and all these
Hmm.
things. So I feel as though for all the people that just crap on schools and colleges, like
Hmm.
you definitely had some great things as a result of going to them and being a
Right. For
part of
sure.
that.
For sure. Yeah, I made so many amazing long-term friends. I've made so many memories, you know. Yes, the loans did stink. And did you actually learn anything in college? I mean, you could argue no.
We could
Got
do a whole
like,
podcast on school.
yeah, yeah, I'd be down for that. Um, so yeah, that's the thing, is like I I've never been a guy that like feared missing out. Like even now I'm like, oh, There's a party. Okay, cool. Have fun. Like I'll stay home and do whatever I want to do, or I'll do like, I don't care, But if I'm being honest, like I didn't want to miss out on those experiences,
Right.
when all the guys were together, we're all having fun. And some guys didn't drink, and I wasn't like, oh, I'm getting hammered every weekend, or I'm getting, what I mean? I'm taking advantage of every time to drink. Because like during the week, I didn't really drink. I'm gonna drink like once or twice during the week. Um, but I still want to enjoy myself, and I still wanted to live my life, and be around the
Yeah,
guys.
and be a part of that energy.
Exactly. And it was a lot of fun, and I've had so many great experiences. um, so I'm gonna start talking about the fitness during my college and whatnot. Like
Yeah.
I was a grinder. I was one of the guys that got in the gym, and I was working out every day, and just always getting after it, always putting in that effort. I'm doing shoulders, doing chest, doing legs, like just crushing it. And I've always had a natural ability to run long distance. So like when it was time for that to happen, I just kind of was able to do that. Now every year at my college, we have this, I guess you could say it's like a challenge. It's called the Warrior. I guess it's called the Warrior Challenge. So it is a challenge. And there's nine events. Um, and there's 3 days. So the first day is usually on a Thursday. It's a 1.5 mile run. So you'd run that as fast as, obviously as fast as you can. And it's just like crazy. Like guys are like huffing and puffing. They're puking, it's like a 1.5 miles, like it's not
Yeah.
that big of a deal.
So you're probably leaving everyone else
Yeah.
behind.
Yeah. To some extent, I remember my last year, I got second. I was so mad because I had a terrible run. And I actually remember that day because for some reason I was like, oh, I'm not going to eat that much. I don't want that much in my stomach. Whereas every other time I ran, I just naturally I just naturally ate as much as I wanted. And then I would go out and like run, I wouldn't
Right.
like eat. I wouldn't eat like 2,000 calories and go run the next hour, but I'm saying
Right.
like in the day, I would just naturally eat. And then when I felt it was ready to run, I would go run.
Sure.
I wasn't like saying,
You're
oh
like
no.
you weren't like, oh, it's been 2.5 hours. I can
Yeah,
run now.
right. I just kind of did it whenever I did it. But now in my life, I do take, uh, I am more aware about that in my running, in like the meal timing and whatnot, just because like I don't want to run when I have food in my stomach, it just doesn't make sense to me.
Sure.
um, but yeah, so the first day was a 1.5 mile run, and then the next day, that Saturday, was it was so you would squat, and you would do, and this changed year to year, but now I think it's staying where it's staying. So you do like squats with 185 in the bar, you do 10 squats, and then if you get those 10 squats, you do 225. If you get 10 squats, you do 245. You get 10 squats, you do 265. You just keep going. And I got up to 305 squatting. So that's like, I don't know, maybe like 70 some squats, 80 I think it's 60 something or 70 some squats I got to. And I ended up getting like 7 of 305. And it's just like, it's so funny because I was so strong and I was so powerful back then. And now, I'm not saying that now I'm not powerful, I'm not strong. Like I'm still strong, but now like getting 225 is like, wow, it's so difficult for me.
Sure. Yeah.
But like, once again, I don't put my effort into that. I have my priorities in other parts of my life. So I'm not worried about squatting right now. And if there ever was a time that I'd get back into squatting, maybe I'll work it back up, but now is not the time. Um, so, and the next event, so you do squats, and then you would do, I think you went and did pull-ups, and it was just get as many pull-ups as you can.
Yeah.
And
Is
then
this
you
your
do,
first year of college?
no, this is my last year I'm talking.
Your last year.
No,
Okay.
actually, this is just in general, actually. But when I said what I got, the 70 reps or 60 some reps, that was my last year in college. My last year was like the
Gotcha.
best year that I performed in those exercises. So I'm just speaking on that year.
Gotcha.
So I did pull-ups. I got like 24 pull-ups, and then the next was like a sit and reach, just to show your flexibility. And I was always pretty flexible. I don't remember the number I got. That doesn't really matter.
Is
And
this like
then
the presidential like testing? It
yeah,
sounds similar to that.
yeah, something like that. Um, and then I did and then it was push-ups, and then it was sit-ups, or one or the other. Now I got the most push-ups in Seton Hill history at the event. So
Wow.
what it used to be like as many push-ups as you can get in a minute. And a lot of guys, what they would do is they would like short arm it, so that it's just like
Yeah.
you just sit there and pump it out, but you're not actually doing a push-up. A
Right.
push-up is like doing actually a full range of motion push-up up and down,
Sure.
you know? And even now it's like you see guys in the gym doing exercises and push-ups and whatnot, and they're not even going all the way down, and they're not even going all the way up and fully locking out. And that's the thing, is that I really try to focus on fully locking out my motion. So now what it turned into is like you and someone else, you're going one-on-one with them. So they go down, they go down, they go up, you go down, you go up. They go down, you go down, or they go down, they go up, you go down, you go up. So it's like back and
Right.
forth. You do one, I do one. You do one, I do one. And if someone drops, you can keep going, but you can't just like rep it out. You got to go like 1, 2, 3. You know what I mean? So
Sure.
I end up getting 105 push-ups that day, which
Wow.
is the most in seasonal history. Um, and then the sit-ups, I ended up getting, it was just as many sit-ups as you can get in a minute.
Right.
And I think the number was 70. It was either 74, 75, or 70. It's something like that.
Wow.
74, 75, or 76, one of that. But that was the most sit-ups in seasonal history too. And like, once again, it's not like, not once again, but this doesn't really matter in anything. You
Right.
know, it's
Well,
not like
you had me beat on all those, and I did pretty well. But you had me
nice,
beat on pretty much because I think my pull-ups was like 20. So you
nice.
said you had 24.
Yeah,
I think my push-ups was just like 70. So you
that's still
smashed me
really impressive
there.
though.
The sit-ups 67. So you crushed that too. And what's amazing to me is you're heavier than me. Like I've
Yeah,
always been lean, like a
right,
strong lean, but
right.
you had more body weight. And these are all like body weight exercises, and you're
Mhm.
still destroying it.
For sure, for sure.
So
Well,
it's
thank
pretty
you for
cool.
that. So that's the thing, is like, it doesn't really matter how you do in the event. It's not like, oh, you did well, you did 100 push-ups, you know, you're gonna start at second base. It did like it didn't really matter. You know, some of the best guys in the team, they were like last in the competition, you know, but I was always one of the guys who I wanted to be my best. I wanted to crush it. I wanted to kill it. I wanted to get after it. You know, I was so passionate about it. And just like being so passionate about working out, that just really, really motivated me to want to be the best as possible during this event. So, and then the last day, it was like a shuttle run, um, a 60-yard dash, and then a med ball toss. That was my worst day, and that always screwed me up in the standings. So I don't want to talk about that. Anyways, so yeah, so like I was always super passionate, super. I was a go getter at the gym, always getting after it. You know, I always had that fitness, I always had that strength. Um, and I'll get into this a little later, but it's just like it always stinks. There was a time period in my life where I just like didn't work out for a certain period, and it was bad. But anyways, I'll get to that. So but now in my life, I've just created the habit, and it's natural to me to just to every day is go to the gym, or every day it's be on the bike, be out and about, like some form of exercise every single day. I'm not sure what today is.
Yeah,
What's today?
even when you came and
Today's the
stayed with me, and
11th.
we had it, and we had everyone at my house, like you were
Yeah.
leaving to go to the gym and make sure you made that a
Yeah,
priority.
for sure. It's not like it's like a burden on me, like, oh my gosh, I gotta go to the gym, you know, or anything like that. You know, I love working out. I love moving my body. I love just getting after it in the gym, you know, and on the bike too. So today is May 11th. On March 9th, I made it not a goal, but I made it a habit every day to do 100 push-ups. So, um, I've done 100 push-ups every day since March 9th, and
Wow.
I'm gonna keep that going forever, hopefully.
Yeah,
Just
that's
because
really awesome.
I thank you, just because I feel like just I feel like push-ups are such a foundation. They're such a foundational exercise for all their movements that like I just want to be as best as I possibly can at doing push-ups. Um, and I also want to make it not a goal, but I want to make it a habit every day to do 100 squats too, just body weight squats.
Right.
Um,
They really complement each other too, squats and push-ups.
for sure, for sure. Um, so so yeah, so like I've always been a go-getter, you know, and I've just built that habit and that mentality to get to the gym, to get out, to get exercising. If I can't, and like, yes, I have rest days, you know, yes, it is good it's good to take time off. And I don't really have like a disorder behind it, because I'm not but like I said before, I'm not like, oh my gosh, like I have to go to the gym, you know, or I have to do
Right.
this, I had to do that. Cause I don't feel that way, you know, like I love going to the gym. And I know that there's people out there who actually, it's kind of like eating. It's like they have disordered thinking with working out and exercising. And
Yeah,
they're like,
it's not like you're showing up to the gym with a torn, shoulder
yeah,
and you're just like, "I have to do my push-ups and I have
right.
to,"
Right. Right.
like
But fortunately for me, I have such a positive mentality with working out that I can't wait to go to the gym every day. I can't wait to get out and go on the bike, you know. Um, and like I said, there's people out there who it's just such a burden on them, and they like I feel like they're forcing themselves to go to the gym. And I'm here to say that like you don't have to force yourself to do anything. If you don't want to do something, don't do it. You know, why are you doing that to yourself? Why are you putting yourself through something you don't want to do? Especially when it comes to like fitness and exercise and whatnot. Just 'cause I feel like people think they have to do it. You know, I have
right.
to get out. I have to. And like, I mean, you don't have to do anything in this life. You can do whatever you want. You know, if you want to sit on the couch and do whatever, you know, you want to be lazy, it's
Yeah,
your
especially
life, you
when
know?
especially when you're doing it out of, like, guilt and then
Right.
you're not even seeing results and you hate it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But for me, like I do feel like exercise and movement and being outside and just all that stuff, you know, um, I do feel like that creates a positive environment in your body and it leads to better health, you know. So like I don't want to say that I have to work out, I have to exercise, but I do know that it leads to better health results when I'm active, you know.
Right.
So just to end it here with this spiel on exercising and whatnot in my life, like um I just created such a positive mindset around working out. I don't feel like I have to do it. It just naturally comes and it's free and easy for me, you know? So
Yeah, and I think it's one of the biggest things that's overlooked, especially in the communities we're involved in, which
for
is
sure.
like the vegans, the raw vegans. Everyone is focused on the food. They're so focused on the food,
Right.
and there are definitely fit people. There are definitely people focused on fitness, but
Hmm.
it's not the overall it's not what's overall thought of.
Right.
In order to be really healthy, you should be pretty fit, in our opinion.
Hmm.
And
Totally.
it's great to hear you say that because I'm one of those people that really tends to get focused on the food and like I need to like get back into fitness for
Right.
sure because
Right.
because it's so important for what you eat as well.
Hmm.
It all goes hand in hand, and you're living that for sure.
Totally. Totally. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that, AJ. So now I'm gonna get into like some of the health issues that I had in college and like mood transition that into like being vegan and whatnot. So um, I'll just say my sophomore year, I took Accutane and um, I'll say it really helped my I mean, it helped my skin, you know, and I think a lot of people who take Accutane, they'll say some side effects are like, oh, you could be depressed, you could have mental issues, you know, you could lose appetite, you can do whatever, all that kind of stuff, you know. And I will say when I did take Accutane, I had like so many bloody noses. I'm not sure if it was because it was like drying me out or whatnot, but my nose is like always bleeding. So if anyone has an answer for that, that'd be awesome to just learn about,
So
you know.
so Accutane is for acne. Is that what it
Yeah.
is? Like it's
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
cream
It's
or
like a
something?
pill actually. There's a
Oh, it's a
pill you
pill.
take. You take it like twice a day. And I mean, it cleared out my skin, but it's just really like getting into like this detoxification world. It's really interesting to hear people say like, "Oh, I took Accutane a couple years ago. I had to detox the Accutane out of my body." You know, so
Mm,
I'm sure it's like a chemical. There's some kind of
right.
there's some
Maybe it left
chemical.
some kind of like residue
Yeah,
or
exactly.
something behind.
Right. So people would say like, "Oh, you got to get that out of your body. I'm going to detox it out." And I'm like, I don't want to do that. You know, I don't
Yeah.
how do I don't know. I have no clue, you know. But they'll be like, "Oh, well, if you take an Accutane then you 100% have this in your body, blah, blah, whatever." I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm not worried about that at all, you know. Let's just say right now I'm fortunate to have pretty clear skin. I will say that like I'm still dealing with skin issues. Um, it's actually really ironic because I usually only see some skin issues after I'm working out, and some days it's like I don't even notice it, and other days I'm like really itchy and whatnot. But um, anyways, I'll get into a little of that more later. So I took Accutane my sophomore year, and it cleared up my skin. You know, everything went great, everything went well, nothing crazy happened to me. I didn't drink alcohol for that 6 months because the alcohol messed with the Accutane. So I was like, I'm not even gonna mess with it. I'm gonna stay away. So I did that. I was sober for 6 months. Thank you, thank you, thank you. No, I'm just kidding.
Congratulations.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. Um, so the other biggest issue that I had, and I touched on this earlier, now I'm bringing it back, coming back full circle, was like just falling asleep. So, and being tired. I was always a guy that like, I'm not taking a nap. I'm not doing that. Like, I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to study.
What? Naps are awesome.
Yeah. I got to study. I got to work out. I got to blah, 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 blah. I got to like make sure I'm doing something. Don't take a nap. If you take a nap, like shame on you. You're wasting time. You're not putting in the effort.
You're lazy.
Yeah. But it's just funny because like now I see naps as like, you can see it as like a supplement. It's like, oh, I can actually utilize a nap.
Like a medicine.
Yeah, I can utilize it and take advantage of it, and that can help propel me for the next couple hours before bedtime. And even still, it's kind of funny because I still don't really take naps. But I do have a job where if I wanted to take a nap, I could take a nap whenever I wanted.
Yeah, and that's something we're definitely going to dive into in the future is sleep, and so much about sleep.
For sure. So I mean, I was always a kid. Like, I'm going to bed early. I lived in a room of 6 guys. I have a roommate, Garrett Verbanek.
Wow.
I went to high school with Garrett, and I roomed with him in college, and it was so much fun. And it's funny, I call him my roommate, and I started this actually my freshman year, when I had my jaw broken, and it was actually after that. We were in the regional tournament, and Garrett was the starting second baseman, and he's had one of the best careers in senior history baseball. Just an unbelievable athlete. He was a guy who played all 3 sports, all 4 years in high school. Just a grinder, a go-getter, definitely one of, if not the best athlete I've ever played with. And I remember I was like just outside watching the game on the fence, and he hit like a double or something, and I'm screaming like, "That's my roommate! That's my roommate! Let's go!" And like, I mean, I'm not sure if anyone else has said that before me. I'm sure maybe they have, but I feel like I started a trend of like, that's my roommate, and calling guys roommates, and that's my roommate, and the roommate, so I just say like, oh, that's my roommate, and so yes, I was a guy who like, I wanted to get to bed early. I knew getting to bed early was important. So I would go to bed early. I'd try to go to bed early, but most nights I'd be awakened by my roommates and my sleep mates, because they would come in my room and they would have this speaker and they would play like pig noises and all this kind of crazy stuff. And like, I'm getting up. It's like 2 a.m. and they're all still up having a good time. And I'm just trying to sleep, and they're waking me up, and they come in the room and say, they'd be like, "Hey, Brew, what time's practice tomorrow?" And I'm like, "Dude, I'm trying to sleep. Like, get out of here." Just like
I wouldn't have lasted 2 seconds.
Oh yeah, you would have had a tough time. You would have had a tough time there. But I mean, like, looking back on it, it's funny, but I actually wonder if like that led into like some issues with me, but like I said, like, I've always been a guy, like, I'd just be so tired. So I'd be in class, I'd be like dozing off. I remember this one class, it was like a probability class. Screw that class.
Yeah.
And I remember it wasn't fun. I had to bring an apple every class with me just to make sure I'd stay up, because it'd be like halfway through and I'd be like falling asleep, and I like had to eat the apple to keep me awake. And it was just like, but it was like in a lot of classes. I just even still, when I had like an 8 a.m. class, I'd get up, I'd be like in class halfway through, I'm like dozing off, falling asleep, and I'm just like, it's every time. I don't know what's happening to me. And people would be like, "Oh, MP, like, you what's the word? Oh my gosh, I can't think of the word now. When like you fall asleep everywhere. Oh my gosh, it's just like you can fall asleep at any point in time, kind of. Oh my gosh, I think it begins with an N.
I call it lucky.
I can't believe I'm forgetting the name of this word. Oh my gosh. I gotta look this up real quick.
Yeah. It sounds like it was a combination of you being really bored in what you're doing, but also you having that sleepiness.
Oh, narcolepsy. That's the word. So they would be like, LMP, like you have narcolepsy just because like you fall asleep everywhere. Like you're a narcoleptic. And I'm like, I'll be like, maybe I am, I have no clue. But once again, just like I said with high school, I'm wondering like, why isn't anyone else having these issues? Like, why is it just me? Like, why isn't like no one's getting good sleep? We're all staying up late. We're all not getting like, we're all not sleeping well. Like, why isn't anyone falling asleep everywhere like I can? Dude, I would sit down, I just like fall asleep. I have a story. We're practicing and a practice. Hey guys, we're gonna visualize for our game tomorrow. I want you to pick a spot in the field, go out, sit down, lay down, whatever, and I want you to meditate and I want you to visualize tomorrow's game. So I go out, I'm in center field, and I'm on the fence. I'm sitting there meditating. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna lay down. Screw it. So I lay down and I fall asleep. I don't meditate. I fall asleep. I'm sleeping in the outfield at the end of practice. And fortunately, I end up waking up and like I wake up and like no one's out there. I'm like, what the heck's going on? Everyone was like,
you out there.
yeah, they left me out. They were gonna like bring water out and pour it on me. But fortunately, I woke up and I ran back into the dugout acting like an idiot. But and like it just, I don't know. I just don't know what it was. I don't know what was causing all this. And now that I think about it, like I wanted to say food was a part of it. I wanted to be like, oh yeah, it was the food, it was this, it was that. But honestly, I just don't think I was getting good enough rest. I just don't think I was sleeping well enough. And I think I was overworking myself. So I was overworked. I wasn't getting enough sleep. Yeah, you can maybe argue some food. There could be some issues with the food. But I really think it was those two main factors that were a part of it, and even with the stress with like school and baseball and girlfriends and life and all that kind of stuff.
And I do think you have
So
a natural ability to just really downshift
yeah, for
like
sure.
that.
Yeah,
Like
like
even at my house, we have that video where Frank's talking and you're I mean, it was later and you had worked out and done a bunch of things. But for me, like I would never a bunch of people being around, I would be
right,
the last one out. So I think
right.
you do have some kind of natural ability with that.
Yeah, well, even last night I got home late and it's like not it's actually I talked to my neighbor for 30 minutes. He just talks and blabbers about everything, whatever.
Right.
I come inside, I'm talking with my dad, and I'm like, he's talking, I'm like on the couch, like falling asleep. He's like, hey, I think you should go to bed. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go to bed. So but even still, like I think I've just always felt like that was an issue for me. One of the biggest issues, actually. I even remember like being on the bench during a game, and like I would make sure that I'd be wearing sunglasses because if I would fall asleep, like no one could tell that I'm on the bench on the railing with my eyes closed. I'd be like with my eyes closed, yeah, let's go, let's go, let's go. But I'm like my eyes are closed, and I'm still thinking like, what is wrong with me? Once I get on that bus, I'm like, I'm out. I'm out. I'm asleep. I mean, even still, like when I get on a plane, there's times and like I'll knock out. Maybe that's just natural for me to fall asleep on a bus or on a plane. But, but yeah. So I didn't know what was wrong with me, and I'll touch on this a little later too as well. But yeah. So my sleep. I mean, just falling asleep everywhere, being called a narcoleptic, just skin issues, and then my breathing as well. I did have some breathing issues throughout college. My asthma, like I remember even when I was doing my like mile and a half run.
Were you still using an inhaler at that time?
Yeah, so like I would like take it before I would run, and then like one of the coaches had it, and I remember like running, and they like tossed to me, and I'd catch it, and I'd take like two puffs, and I like throw it back to him, just to, like make sure that I'd be good for the whole run. So yeah, so anyways, so I'm gonna start talking about like getting into veganism now. I think I think I did a pretty good job there. Telling a lot about my story.
So go into like where you were you still in college, or what age were
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
So
So
like
I was
the first thing that came into your head that got you to be like,
right.
vegan.
Right. So it was my 5th year when I was in college, and it was I think December, and it was we were back. We're home for Christmas break, and my parents and my family were watching What the Health. And I just kind of, I didn't even watch the whole film. I just walked in like halfway and I sat down, I started watching it, and I just hear these stories about like people who like they're feeling better, they're lifting more weights, they're off their medication, they're doing this, they're doing that, like all these positive benefits of like a plant-based diet.
Right.
And I remember on the screen, and it's so ironic because uh they said like, oh, if you need to get X amount of protein and carbs a day, you'd have to eat like this much white rice and this much broccoli. And I'm like, oh, like that's what I do now. And I'm thinking even back then, I'm like, oh, I could do that. Like I'd have no issue just eating white rice and broccoli. That tastes pretty good. Because
Yeah.
even still, like when you eat meat, like people aren't just eating meat. They're adding oils, they're adding salts, they're adding ketchup, they're adding barbecue sauce, they're adding all this stuff to their meat. It's like I can just be like, oh, I can just add that sauce to rice and leave out the meat, and
Right.
it'd be very similar. Like like my meat, my meal is gonna taste the same as your meal. I mean, not really, but this have different
Yeah,
different
it tastes just as good and can be just as flavorful.
right, for sure. Exactly. And that's like that was my mindset. I thought, oh, you know what? I could do that. That's like that doesn't seem bad at all. I'm sure there's a lot of options. I love eating fruit. I love eating vegetables. Like I've always been a guy, like, oh, I make sure to get my vegetables in. I make sure to eat my salad, like I was always that kind of guy. Like even like for lunches and for dinners, like I'm always eating salads, I was doing it. I always
Yeah.
had that mentality. I always wanted to eat healthy. And that's actually something that I didn't touch on from being younger and even in high school. I was always a guy that I always ate. I got up, breakfast, I ate breakfast right away, and you could even say that led to some issues, sleeping issues as well, like getting up at 6 a.m, eating right away. Now, I've been up since 6 and I haven't eaten yet. It's 10 o'clock. So
Metabolic damage.
yeah. So
Yeah, you were a hungry person.
yeah, for sure. Definitely very hungry. Um, but yeah, I was always prepared. Even when I go out, I always had my food ready. I always had something with me, and I was always prepared with that. And that still stands true today, just because I care so much about my food. I'm so passionate about ensuring that I'm getting enough, and ensuring that I'm not going hungry. I'm not starving myself. Um, so yeah, so What the Health, I watched the film and half the film, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try this out. So I get in college, I try it out, and it's going pretty well. And I was kind of, I think I'm talking a lot here, so I kind of want to fast forward everything. But it's like it's like the end of the year, and people are
Are
like
you like
saying,
23 years old or something?
yeah, I think I'm 20. Yeah, I'm 23. I'm like 22, gonna be 23 because I
Okay.
was, yeah. I guess I was 23. So because I'm 26 now, I've been vegan for close to 3.5 years. So yeah, I was 23.
Okay.
So it's like it's the end of the year, and people are like, "Oh, you look skinny. You look this. You look that." And like every year during baseball season, I always lost weight. Like my really good year that I had in college, the one year that I actually played, even if you look at me compared to what I look my senior year during the season, like I'm skinny. Like I've always just naturally just like lost weight during the year because
Right.
we're moving so much. Even if you're not playing at a baseball game, you're still there for 5-6 hours standing up, moving around, giving guys high fives. Like you're not just like you're still getting tired. Like you're
Yeah,
still
you're putting a lot of energy
fatigued.
out still.
Yeah, like you're still so tired, even if you do nothing. Even if you just you're on the bench, you're tired and exhausted. So like I just be like, and even in season 2, I just always ate it as much as I could, whatever I wanted. I'm like, it's not gonna matter. It's like I'm gonna put weight on, so I just always ate anything.
Yeah.
Uh, I forgot what I was getting with this. Oh, the weight loss. Yeah. So, in veganism, but yeah. So, people would be like, "Oh, you look skinny," blah, blah blah, and I'm like, "No, I'm not." I just didn't think they really understood, And I didn't have that good of a senior year. Like, I feel like I had high expectations going into the year, and I just totally failed. And I think a lot of it was mental. I just wasn't able to play. I didn't play consistently, and I think that played a part as well. But people will be like, "Oh, Pete, like you didn't play well because you weren't vegan. You weren't eating your meat. You weren't getting your protein." I'm just like, "All right,
Like,
whatever." Like,
oh, you were falling asleep. It's because
yeah,
you're vegan.
yeah, like you do, yeah, you just don't really understand it. But anyway, so So I had an issue with one of my ex-girlfriends, and that issue led me into raw veganism. And I found raw veganism like about uh about 8 months, 9 months into being vegan, just
Okay.
from doing research and heal. It's like just like I'm on the internet searching Robert Morse, on YouTube and all these other guys talking about,
Yeah, like the detox kind of
for sure,
world
like just
now.
talking about raw veganism and healing incurable diseases and this and that and all this kind of stuff. So I got into that. I got into that to raw veganism then. Um, and I will say too, like I started intermittent fasting as well. About 6 months into veganism. So let's just say around June of 2018 is when I started intermittent fasting, and I was doing intermittent fasting for like a year and a half. And I guess you could even say now I'm actually like I'm getting back into it a little bit.
Right.
Not Go ahead.
Oh, I said right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Because I guess you could say like I haven't eaten for 4 hours and I've been up. But like, anyways, we're not talking about that now. So, even still, when I was intermittent fasting and like eating a lot of fruit and whatnot, I was still like so tired. So I would like wait till 12 to eat, and I'd eat my fruit meal. I would do like raw 4 kind of thing. I'd eat my
Okay.
fruit meal, and I'm not even kidding you. I couldn't keep my eyes open. I could not keep my eyes open. I was like, it wouldn't even matter where I was. I'd be working, I'd be home, I'd be at my desk, and I'd be like,
So
I
once
would,
you put that food in, your body was just like
yeah,
go to
yeah, it
sleep.
would just like shut down, and I would be like falling asleep. And like, I would have to take a nap. I'd have to. I couldn't even keep my eyes open. And there was this kid that I used to work with, Chris, and he'd be like, MP, wake up, wake up, wake up. And he like messed with me saying that he had Down syndrome. And he'd like mess with me and be like, wake up, dude. But like, I couldn't keep my eyes open. I seriously couldn't. Gosh, I have so much to say. I just want to make sure that I get all this in, and I'm not taking too much time here.
Right. You're good, man.
um, so, let's just fast forward. So, I started intermittent fasting 2018, and towards the end of 2018, I found raw veganism, and then February 1st, 2019 is when I was like, I'm doing this. I'm going raw vegan. I'm going to heal my issue. And I don't want to talk about my issue now. Just not enough
Okay.
time, and I'll speak on it later. But it's an incurable issue, and I like had the passion and desire to heal my issue with raw veganism, and eating lots of fruits and lots of vegetables and whatnot. So, about 2 months into eating raw vegan, I did my first juice fast, like 20 days, I think it was.
Wow.
Um, and I had a really interesting experience with that. Um, and then a couple months later, I did like a watermelon juice fast. And it's funny because like
So hold on. You did 21 days on juice. What kind of juice were you drinking? And
I
was
was
this because you watched some John Rose or something?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it actually was because of John Rose. I watched a lot of his videos. I watched his seminar on juice fasting and like clearing out your body and cleaning your body out. And they just said it's good for healing. And I thought, oh, maybe I could like help heal my issue doing this. So I was doing just like all different kinds of juices. I was doing like orange juice, cantaloupe juice, honeydew melon juice, watermelon juice, grape juice, like even veggie juices. Like I was just doing crazy juices, but apple juice. But I just didn't drink enough juice. Simple as that. And it's funny
Really?
because I remember in one of his videos, John Rose is like, if you're going to do juice fast, but you're not going to drink enough juice, don't do it. And he's like screaming, don't do it. Don't do it. You know, because that's like where the issues lead. So if you do a juice fast, and AJ and I was going to call you Leo. AJ and I, we will touch on this later about juice fasting or not. But so I was juice fasting. So I did the one juice fast, and then like a month or two later, I did another juice fast, watermelon juice, and
And how long was that one?
that was 30 days. And I lost like
Wow.
so much weight, and it's just so funny because um my dad's like, "Hey MP, like you look skinny, like you don't have any energy, and like do you have any sex drive?" And I'm like, "No." And
Right.
it's funny
Yeah.
because
He's like, are you interested in girls? I
yeah,
think
and
you
I'm
told
like,
me like something like
"No,
that.
I'm not interested in girls at all." And he's like, dude, there's something wrong with you, bro. Like, what are you doing? And in my head, I'm thinking like, no, this is the right thing to do. Like I'm juice
Yeah.
fasting, and I'm like, I look good, but it's like, the thing is, like, I don't see it. You know, they see it. I don't see it. I think everything's going well. I think everything's great, but it's not.
Right.
It's not like, you know, and it's just, it's good to have people around you for that reason to be like, hey, dude, like, there's something wrong with you. I think you should like do something different. Like, maybe you should chill with that, you know, add some of
Right.
whatever, do something different, change it up.
And you just did watermelon juice for
Yeah.
30 days?
Yes, I did
That's pretty
watermelon. I
intense.
did watermelon and cayenne powder for like 30
Wow.
days, just watermelon juice. Um, it was crazy.
Jeez.
It was crazy. And I mean, to all the detoxers out there, to all like the raw fruit people, I will say on 30 days of watermelon juice, I was still pooping solid. Like I still had solid poop coming out of me. And
Right. So
like,
you're still having stuff that wasn't watermelon juice coming out of you.
yeah,
Or at
yeah.
least it didn't look like it.
Yeah, for sure. So like you could, and like if I would do a juice fast now, I'm sure, I'm sure I'd sure have a lot come out of me, you know. Um,
Yeah,
but
just so we could be clear, just so the people who don't know
for sure.
can kind of know what we're referencing. There's a lot of people in the detox community and the cleansing community that will say like, if you do a juice fast, you're gonna watch all this solid waste still come out of you because
Mm-hmm,
it's built up in your system. We're not
mm-hmm.
claiming that's what we know it to be, but that's what we're talking about.
Um, so yeah, after that, after my 30 days, I just like was raw vegan. You know, I actually put weight back on, and it's funny because I remember my one friend Matt Ober, who I talked about earlier, one of my guys from one of my really good friends from college. Um,
Mm-hmm.
he was like, "Oh, I thought you were gonna be super skinny when I because we had our it was like alumni weekend and everyone came back and I was like, I'm not. I was like, I don't care. I'm not going here skinny. Like I'm not doing that. So like I was in the gym working out, like making sure like I put weight on so that I wasn't looking
Right.
like a skinny fruitarian, you know. And I'm not
Yeah.
like saying that in a mean or bad way. I'm just saying that like just overall, like I didn't want to be skinny, you know. So I
Yeah.
put on weight as a raw vegan and it wasn't very difficult for me if I'm being honest. Um, so um, so like I said, like they're like, oh wow, you look pretty good. Like you look healthy. You know, you don't look like you're skinny. And it's funny because during my one juice fast, I looked so skinny. There's a movie. Oh my gosh, I think that's
The
what.
machinist.
Yeah, The Machinist. Yeah, I told you that story. Like my friend was like, "Dude,
Right.
you look like the guy from The Machinist because you look so skinny." And I'm like, "No, I don't. What do you mean? I look healthy." Blah blah. So, anyways, so I just like was raw vegan, and I did another 7-day juice fast, and that was the last one I've done. It was like an apple juice fast back in October, I think, of 2019. Um, so then I stayed raw vegan. You know, I was a raw vegan. I was like, I'm going a year raw vegan. So I did a year raw vegan. And then like legit the day that I stopped and I went back to like eating cooked food again, was the day that I went to Florida for a trip. And I do remember like being in Florida there. I was like so constipated, like eating all these foods that I haven't eaten yet.
Right.
And I was pooping like once a day and like nothing was coming out of me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like what's going on? Like, oh my gosh, this is crazy, you know? But the thing was, I felt so good. I didn't know what it was. I felt so good. I think the sun, the environment, like I think all that played a part. Um,
Yeah, maybe
and
the
it,
calories too.
for sure. And I think it's just crazy because this year I went back down and I ate similar foods, but this time I was having like 3 to 4 bowel movements a day. And I did take some enzymes, Puridyne enzymes with my food. And I think that definitely helped a ton. So thank you, Puridyne, for that. And thank you, AJ, for recommending me those enzymes. They're awesome. Um, so I want to touch on um, my sleeping still, because even up to this point, I was still like just so tired when I ate. You know, I'm still falling asleep. You know, even like through raw veganism and through intermittent fasting, all that stuff. Like I wanted to intermittent fast because it's they're like, oh, you'll have more energy because you're not digesting your food as much when you eat within a certain time period. You know, so
Right.
I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna have all this energy and whatnot. Um, so so uh I got back into cooked food and I came across Durian Rider. And he's like, carb up, carb up, carb up. So I start carving up and doing all this kind of stuff and eating potatoes and eating rice and
Get your carbs.
yeah, get your carbs in. And like, I'm just like stuffing food in my face. I'm just eating like all this rice, all the potatoes, like eating so much. I'm not even kidding you. I actually remember a video of Durian Rider being like, hey, I've eaten like eat till you puke, eat till you puke. I've actually eaten so much that I've actually puked over the
Right.
past year. just because I've eaten so much
I
food.
remember those videos.
Yeah. But yeah, and I it was just really interesting to just go through that phase just because I was so hungry. And I don't know if it was I don't know if I was starving from like not eating enough when I was a raw vegan. Because I do feel like I did eat enough, especially when I was gaining weight. Like I was eating a lot of calories. So I don't necessarily feel like I was starving. But I will say I stopped intermittent fasting and I just started carbing up and eating so much. And like for some reason, I just like didn't get tired anymore.
Wow.
I was started eating breakfast again, and I was actually getting better sleep, and I was going to bed earlier, and um just getting on better routines, better habits. And I just like even
Were
now
you
like
also were you paying attention more to your how much water you drank too,
yeah,
or no?
for sure. I definitely
Okay.
was increasing my water consumption because like when I was raw, I was like, no water, water's bad, blah blah.
Yeah, I've
So
noticed definitely that
mhm,
if you're dehydrated, you could definitely be more sleepy.
right,
Like
right,
having that hydration.
for sure, for sure. So the water definitely helped. Um, so um, so yeah, I mean, and even during that time period when I was like carbon up, blah blah, I was doing like no salads at all, and I really regret that because I did see myself get out of balance. I did see like I felt like I had issues in my throat and not going to the bathroom as much, feeling constipated and whatnot, and I wasn't doing like any salads, and I remember DMing or like commenting on this one nutritionist post just because I listened up on YouTube because I felt like there's like something in my throat, but I know what it was. And I don't even know what I had to look it up again to look up like what this issue was, but I type it on this guy's post and I'm like, hey, blah, blah, like, what do you think is the cause of this or what can help fix this issue? And he was like, oh, that's you. It was, I forget what it was, but he was like, oh, usually for these kind of symptoms or for this phrase, I forget what the phrase exactly was. But that's usually like a
Mhm.
mineral issue, a mineral deficiency, and like you just got to get more minerals into you. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna start doing more salads, and I started doing more salads, and it just kind of naturally, honestly, I'm not even kidding you, it just kind of went away. And right now, even with where I am in my health, I feel like it did kind of create sort of an eating disorder with raw veganism, but I'm definitely past that. And I feel like where I am today with my health, I feel awesome. I feel great. I feel like I have a good mental state, you know. Um,
Yeah. I think
so
what you said is a really important thing to focus in on for a second.
mhm,
Because you were saying that even though you were carbing up, even though you're getting all these calories, you're finally focusing more on hydration and sleep,
mhm,
you were still having some of these symptoms, such as your throat.
for sure.
And a lot of people think, in the raw world, in the detox world, okay, you gotta juice fast, you gotta detox,
Right,
take herbs,
right,
get your kidneys
right,
filter in, clean up
right,
your lymphatic system in order to solve that.
right.
And I think that it's really underappreciated that maybe you were just missing something you needed. So now the
Hmm.
body can address the thing that's going on. And it's
Exactly.
not necessarily like a cleaning issue. It might be a restorative issue.
Exactly. And that's the thing that I'm so thankful for meeting you about is because like I feel like your whole mentality and your whole way of going about it is like, yes, like A is like having your foundation of what you do, having your habits, you know, being like getting on a good routine. But actually meeting your needs, you know, not being so focused on like, oh, I have to get rid of X, Y, and Z, but oh, maybe you actually need to bring in more to actually meet what you need with your body.
Yeah. And I
So
remember you sending me some kind of nutritionist. I don't know if it was a post or study or something, but it
mhm,
was like having more nutrition and calories can help your body detox more efficiently and faster in a
right,
lot of
for sure.
scenarios.
For sure.
Because if you're lacking in minerals, if you're lacking in nutrients and enzymes and
Carbohydrate.
vitamins, how is
Yeah,
your body supposed to use those tools to rid themselves of the things or address issues being had? And I'm
exactly.
like, that's a really good point.
Exactly.
You need to know where
Exactly.
you're at. If you're someone who's just stuffing your face with, cheeseburgers every day, and maybe it's good to back off and do a little bit of cleaning or something. But if
Right.
you've been pushing so long and you're not
Right.
happy with your results, maybe it's time to
Right.
really nourish yourself.
Hmm. Yeah. So we're coming in as on the end of the end of the show here. We're in a bit of a crunch time. I do want to say that AJ and I we will be discussing more about these kind of issues and stuff that I was dealing with at a later episode. But I will say that like right now with my health, I do feel great. I'm learning about myself every single day, and I'm learning about what my needs are, and what I can do better, and what I need to work on. Um, so once again, we will touch on that. Um, and what else? Is there anything else I have to say here? AJ, do you have anything else that you want to say? And I could think of some closing
Yeah,
thoughts.
sure. So me being introduced to you, I think that as far as someone who feels really good, like it's no bullshit. It's not like you're like a lot of people, including myself sometimes, will like act like they have all these answers, will act like they,
Mm-hmm.
are doing the best thing ever. But what you bring to the table is you have more energy and more positivity than anyone else I interact with. It's funny because we could be on South Street in Philly and you're like drawing all this attention to our friend group just because you just have this natural ability to pull people towards you.
Mm-hmm.
And I know our friend Jeremy, Archie, he was saying like it's MP's like a mix between this jock, but at the same time he's like a nerd and he's a hippie and he's a like all these things mixed into one, and it's like you can get along with anybody. And I think that that's so important, and it's part of our important dynamic because I'm the opposite. So what you bring to the table really complements what I do.
For sure.
And I want to say that as far as people that don't know MP, like maybe they just know of the podcast because of me, or they know because of they just stumbled upon it.
Uh-huh.
But MP is one of the most he has more integrity than most people. I haven't even known him that long, and he's been so supportive, so helpful for me. I could be going through a lot of like family dynamic issues, and he's been excuse me, he's been completely there for whatever I need. He's always flexible. He's always adjustable. Even today's podcast, I'm just going to bring it up for a second. I was just having a real hard time getting going, and he's just so super patient and, bringing it up. And I think he's doing an amazing job here. And I'm so happy that me and him are doing this Hungry People. Without him, there wouldn't be, it wouldn't be what it will be, which is going to be insane for sure. And I just want to say that I couldn't speak higher of MP.
Mhm.
His personality, his drive, his intentions, everything is really amazing and pure. And obviously, it's not like he's perfect or I'm perfect, but I know the intentions are there to be as good a person as we can be and bring something that's really special. And MP, I
Mhm.
want to thank you, and I'm so happy to learn more about you. This was this is a really good episode for me. I was able to chill and just absorb
Yeah,
more
for
about
sure.
you. And thank you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for being such a good friend and really teaching me. I think I've learned more from you than you've learned from me.
Wow. Well, AJ, um, thank you so much for saying that. Like, I can't express how much that means to me, and I can definitely I can sit here for hours and say the same about you. Like I'm so appreciative of you and everything that you've taught me and all that I learned from you and just your passion and your drive. It really motivates me to keep going. So just like I mean, we can sit here and go back and forth all day. So I just want to say thank you so much and definitely so excited to see what happens um over the next couple months and years with Hungry People and just spreading our message and just getting the health and vitality word out there. And it's just so crazy because with AJ and I, we do want to keep these episodes not to a minimum, but like we don't want us to be talking and talking all day and like dragging these episodes out. And it's just crazy because we could sit here for hours and just talk on all this stuff. So even me, like I had to
Yeah.
cut my story short. He had to cut his story short just because like we have so much to say and we are so passionate about the health and vitality lifestyle. And we just want to share that with you. We want to give as much as we possibly can to you guys just in hopes to inspire you guys to be more passionate about your health and just to have that drive and that love for what you're doing with yourself. So, um, AJ,
Beautiful.
if you have any closing thoughts there, and
I
then
just want to say that seeing us up here and talking or through Instagram, you really you do get to see who we are,
mhm,
and I think you get to appreciate our intentions and whatnot. But I think it'd be really awesome to meet people who are watching in person. So MP and I will be attending the 10th annual Woodstock Fruit Festival this
yes, we
year
will.
in August 2021. It was canceled last year, but this year it is on, and we are going to be there. We're going to have a lot of friends there. It's a really awesome time.
Mhm.
Healthy food, healthy habits, a beautiful campus, swimming, fitness, go karts, lectures, people traveling all over the world, coaches, people into veganism, raw veganism, fitness, fruitarianism, just overcoming health challenges. We're going to be there. We're going to be happy to meet not only the people we've seen before, but we're going to be happy to meet the new people in our lives and the
For
people
sure.
through the podcast that we've talked to or through Instagram. So if you guys are considering that, go. It's a really good time. It's really a lot of fun. And I've had
Mhm.
some of the best conversations there. And I'm really eager to meet as many people as I can there.
Awesome. Yeah, this will be my first time going to the Woodstock Fruit Festival. And if I'm not mistaken, it's the 10th year anniversary of the festival. So I'm sure it's gonna be there's a lot of hype. It's gonna be a really big event.
It's going to be the best week of our lives.
Yeah.
No pressure, Mike.
Yeah. So yeah, I cannot wait to go. I just can't wait to meet new people. Like I just love meeting new people. I just love talking with new people because you just have no clue who you're gonna meet. You have no clue what you can learn from them. And I can even say this one day, I'm going for a bike ride and I ride around. And I see this guy riding too. And I'm like, I'm just like, screw it, I'm gonna say hi. I'm like, hey, what's up, man? I just have a question. Like, are your feet freezing? Cause my feet are so cold. Like, what do you do to keep your feet cold or keep your feet warm? And, we just start talking, and then like actually he has Strava. We follow each other on Strava, and he's like, I told him like, oh, I went to school for accounting, and he's like, oh, he's like, hey, if you ever need a job, there's this I know some people, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, that's so cool. I'm like, oh, I love my job now. So thank you very much though. But like, even just that little connection there, you just never know. You can learn so much. So AJ.
Right. I think that's it. I think
Yeah.
that's episode 3.
Yeah.
How you
Awesome.
feeling?
I'm feeling
That was
great.
awesome.
Feeling awesome.
That was
Like I just
great.
want to keep
Yeah.
talking. I want to keep going. AJ has work. I have a meeting I got to attend to. So, but I know, we're both really excited for what's to come.
We want to thank you guys for making it this far and listening.
Mm-hmm.
Let us know what you think. If you guys enjoyed it, leave a comment just to tell us your thoughts.
For
If
sure.
you enjoyed it, if there's something we could improve on. If you want to say something to MP about his awesome life and the people around him are really lucky to have
Mm-hmm.
them in their life. So
For
MP,
sure. Awesome. AJ,
man,
thank you
thank
so
you very
much.
much for sharing.
Thank you. I want to say one more thing too. Like I never mentioned my brothers or my sister. I love them so much. And it's just crazy because I feel like I was always fighting with my brothers when I was younger, and now like we're more mature. Yeah, we get into arguments and whatnot, but it's really cool to see our relationships change over these past couple of years. My sister Ashton, for those of you guys don't know her, she has Down syndrome. She is the most amazing person I've ever met in my life. And I know her. I share her on my Instagram. Sorry, AJ. I'm just kidding. It's hard to just be like, oh, you're the most amazing person, I have so many amazing people in my life. I feel so lucky. I feel so blessed.
Yeah, she's such a sweetheart.
Yeah. And I just wanted to share that about my family. So thank you, Mom. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Ashton, Colin, and James. And thank you, AJ, for this wonderful episode and for allowing me to share my story and for giving me this space. So thank you so much.
Yeah, and I want to say to you and for everyone watching out there, me and MP did skip a lot of things for ourselves and our stories, but I know that they're going to come up in the episodes to come when we're talking about certain subjects.
For
so
sure.
These things will be addressed. They will be brought up. So it's not like,
sure.
oh, either of us are missing out or we don't get to, there's something we didn't get to say about our lives. These things will come through. They will be through. And yeah, in closing, I just want to tell everyone, stay hungry.
Hey, stay up, be great, and always keep it 100. That was episode 3 of the Hungry People podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and we all hope you have an amazing day. Thank you.
Take care.